Hello crafty friends, I'm Lean from Studio Kato and I'm so happy you're joining me again today for another video. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about design and how color can really make a card stand out. Now you saw the card and the design itself is quite simple, but I just love how it turned out, and the only reason for that is the colors I used. Now I had a bunch of the floral dies that I'm going to use left over. I had mass-produced really a bunch of floral die cuts like this, and I had a ton left over, so I thought the best way to use all of them up, because they had been sitting on my desk for ages now, was to just make a background out of them. Now I didn't want the actual background of the card to be completely plain, so I used a background die by Crafty Meraki. This is the Dancing Feathers, a 2-sized die, and I cut that out of Concord 9th Stardust cardstock, and it's a really interesting yellow. It's really ochre and it's so stunning. It's a really interesting color and it goes with pretty much everything and nothing as well. So it's a little bit harder to use, but I think the best thing to use it with is blues. It just brings out the cool undertone of the color. It's just stunning. I can't really describe it. So I filled that background up with these iris dies by Crafty Meraki. I had already die cut them, so I knew which colors I had left of them, which was mostly blues, a little bit of purple. Yeah, they go really well with the Stardust cardstock by Concord and 9th. Now I took the slow route of getting there. I glued them all down individually, just with some Barely Art Precision Craft glue. And I'm going to do the same for these little stems that they're not stems. I know what they're called in Dutch, but I don't know what they're called in English. The little yellow things inside the flowers. I'm just gluing those on top of the flowers. I like the way that looks. And I'm only putting a dot of glue at the bottom of that part of the flower. Just gluing them on so they flare up a little bit and it gives a little bit of movement to the design. But if you wanted to make this design a little bit quicker, use some press and seal. I have press and seal. I was too lazy to get up and get it for this card, and I kind of enjoyed just gluing them all down individually. But if you have press and seal, just arrange your flowers on your card, put some press and seal over it, press it down so it can pick up all those flowers, put glue behind all of them at once, and then you can adhere all of them at once, and it's definitely a time saver. It's just a preferred way of card making, whether you use it or not, but it's definitely a useful tool for some designs. I'm just trimming around the edges because I didn't want too much overhang for these flowers. I like that it's confined to my card. I do like some overhanging elements, but not when it's an entire background. It gets a little weird then, because sometimes you have to let an entire flower hang off the edge, and it just doesn't really work out in my opinion. Now I die cut this high from the Happiest Hellos die set by the Stamp Market. This is the shadow layer. I die cut that twice from black cardstock and once from Concord 9th Midnight cardstock, and it's a very close match to the darkest blue that I already had in my flower die cuts. And again, it goes stunning with the Stardust. It's one of my favorite combinations from the Concord 9th cardstocks. They just contrast so nicely, and they're a little bit more of a muted combo because of that Stardust. It's not a bright yellow by any means. It's almost greenish if you actually put it against green cardstock. Yeah, it almost seems to shift color depending on which color you combine it with. But I think it goes perfectly with this blue. And that's the one I used for the background, obviously, and I'm also going to use it for the scripty layer of this die cut. So the high, I die cut twice out of white cardstock and once from that Stardust cardstock. I'm gluing it all together with the Barely Art Precision Craft glue, and it's great for tiny pieces because it has a tiny nozzle. And I'm going to show you my favorite way to adhere the little dot on the eye. I also saved those, and I'm just going to put a little dot of glue where it's supposed to go and pick it up with my jewel picker. I'm going to press it in a little bit with the other end of the jewel picker because the Barely Art Precision Craft glue doesn't dry as quickly. So for these tiny pieces, I like to just make sure it's adhered down and then go to the second layer. You don't want to put too much glue down because it's going to squeeze out the sides, and you don't need that much for just paper anyway. So yeah, this is a great way. This was done in real time, by the way. I showed you the dot technique in real time because I think it's useful. And I just glued all of that down once it was layered up together, right smack dab in the middle of my card. I'm going to add some glitter to the high, the scripty layer of the high, with my Wink of Stella brush marker. I did that because I always like some shimmer on my cards, but also because I wanted a little bit of a difference between the high and the color of the background. Now at first, this marker, it's just water and glitter really, but the marker is going to make the cardstock appear a little bit darker. As soon as it dries, it's going to go back to the original color, just with some silver glitter on the top. This happens to be silver, by the way, but there are different colors in these glitter markers. Like I said, I do like a bit of shimmer on my cards, so I am also going to add some gold sequins. They're not sequins, they're gems. Gold gems by Pretty Pink Posh. They're gorgeous. They're just gold mirror gems. I love them. They pick up the light so nicely. And I'm just going to glue down 2 groups of 3 with some Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. So throughout all of my card making here, I used Barely Art Precision Craft glue, which is great for gluing paper to paper, but like I said, it doesn't dry as quickly and it doesn't dry as firm. So I do prefer to use Nouveau Deluxe adhesive for gems and sequins because it's a little bit sturdier. And that's my card. It's a really simple design. It's so quick to put together, especially if you have die cuts left over, of course. But even if you still have to die cut the pieces, it goes pretty quickly. I spent half an hour on this card, and again, I did it the slow way around. If you use press and seal, you can make this card in 15 minutes. Yeah, it's really fun to make, but I think the colors just give it so much oomph. I just really, really love this card. It's one of my favorite cards I've made lately. I hope you like it too. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and check out my description for all the links to the products I used. Where possible, I will have used affiliate links, and if you use those to purchase something, I will get a small commission on the sale to no extra cost to you, so it definitely helps me out with my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.